This video is for Uche, who asked me to recommend some acting books. A lot of people do, but this one specifically because Uche asked. All modern acting comes down from Stanislavski, and he wrote An Actor Prepares. It's a wonderful book, but I feel like a lot of other students of his have written similar books that might be a little easier to read, a little more modern in their language and their structure. But it all comes down from Stanislavski. Uta Hagen, Respect for Acting. This is a wonderful book. It's sort of what we base our foundation class, our technique class on. Very good. Then she wrote Challenge for the Actor. And after she wrote Challenge for the Actor, that expounds on some of those things in this book and then sometimes contradicts them. So it's kind of fun to read both and see where you are on that line. Everyday Voice Care. This is a great one for anybody, but if you want to learn how to use your voice, protect your voice, very wonderful basic book. Because as actors, even if you're not a singer, you're using your voice and you want to be able to keep it, protect it, and have it sound nice. Tony Barr's Acting for the Camera. It's a staple, it's a foundational book. It's just one that's been around and it's not a bad read. Larry Moss, Intent to Live. Part memoir, part kind of goes along with Respect for Acting. His work on backstory and creating that backstory and creating truth. I sort of love reading all of these books and taking what works for me and what I believe in and what serves me and what I feel serves my students the most. But Intent to Live, Larry Moss. Improvisation for the Theater, Viola Spolin. Anybody who's an improviser, this is the improvising Bible. So it's wonderful. I don't know if you're not, well, I think every actor should be good at improvising. So put this on your list. Uche and everybody else who cares. All right, I've got some more here. The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. This is just a wonderful book about being creative. So if you're an actor who also is a singer, a dancer, any other creative art form, this is just really wonderful in how to get past certain blocks, how to motivate yourself. One of our students bought some for the whole class because he was so inspired by it. So anyway, I spilled some water on it. Harold Gushkin, How to Stop Acting. I always joke that I don't want you to act. So what do I teach? Not acting? But I am an acting coach. His focus is on being intuitive, being an instinctive and intuitive actor, trusting your instinct. And I think that's so important, trusting your instinct. Plus, it's got a foreword by Kevin Kline. I mean, who doesn't love Kevin Kline? Wonderful actor. Sharon Bialy wrote How to Audition for the Camera. She wrote this before How to Audition on Camera. She wrote this before everything was a self-tape. And I just love it. It's a nice thin book. It has a Q&A type format. So if there's something you're looking for, then you can go, oh, should I dress as the character? Should I avoid being the first actor to go in? Any of these questions that we might have, and she has an answer. And she's a lovely human being. She is a fantastic casting director. She's one of these wonderful, good people. So I would definitely buy this book. Some people don't know, and that's all right. My grandfather was one of the great writer-directors in early Hollywood. I don't say that bragging because that's nothing that I did. This was just all him. So if you wanted to know a little bit more about Preston Sturges, I have 2 books that I'd recommend. There's been many. There's even a brand new one about his actual work. Crooked but Never Common is the one that's more about his style. But more about his life, as well as his work. Madcap, The Life of Preston Sturges, Donald Spoto. He was also just a fantastic guy. Get to see pictures of my grandma in there. Love that. And Preston Sturges by Preston Sturges. This was an autobiography he was writing when he passed away, and my step-grandmother finished it not that long ago. So it's also a very interesting read if you're interested in that at all. Okay, memoirs. Actor memoirs. I love them. I watch them all. So, or I read them all, I should say. But really, I like to do audiobooks for memoirs because I love to hear the actor read them. And it's wonderful for my commute, long trips, anything like that. So I'm going to give you a whole bunch of them in no particular order. Finding Me by Viola Davis. Wonderful book. You get into her background, how she grew up, how here's this girl who nobody thought she would make it, much less be considered the greatest actor of our time. So I love this book, and it goes into how she began her acting career. It's comprehensive, it's uplifting, and if you do the audio version, her voice is so fantastic. Talk about having a good voice. The Boys by Ron and Clint Howard. Wonderful story about early Hollywood, and Ron Howard is such an acclaimed director now as well, but starting off as a child actor, being the son of two actors. His brother Clint, also a fantastic actor. The book goes back and forth between the two of them, and it's just a wonderful, delightful read, and there's a lot to be learned about acting in it as well. The way that Ron and Clint's dad would prepare them for auditions. Really fascinating, lovely, heartwarming stuff. Okay, I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy. It's a really good book. It's quite a title, but her mother had been in a lot of pain. That's one of the reasons that it's got that title. But about how problematic a childhood is lived in the limelight, lived in front of everyone, especially when it wasn't her dream, when it was her mother's dream and not hers. So a real cautionary tale and a real insight into a life. Mike Nichols. It's a book about Mike Nichols, not written by Mike Nichols. Mike Nichols was an amazing director. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf was his first movie. I think The Graduate was his second. It goes through his background in improv, starting as an actor, all of the plays that he did, his work with Neil Simon. It's wonderful as an actor to read that. You know, funny thing, that book does mention my grandfather, as does The Boys, the Ron Howard, as does another one that I'm going to recommend, which is Bob Odenkirk. Comedy, drama. Has a reference to my grandfather in that as well. I'm currently reading Sally Field's book, so I don't have a recommendation on that yet, but so far I'm loving it. I love all my memoirs. And Jenna Fischer wrote a wonderful book. She called it the book that she wished she had gotten when she started in Hollywood. All about her making ketchup sandwiches and some of her life lessons. You know, just because you really love a headshot doesn't mean that it's not the one that best represents you and will get you work. And a lot of actors will say, well, having an agent's better than no agent at all. And she has a wonderfully opposite perspective on that. So I really love that one as well. Oh, I did love Rob Lowe's Stories I Tell My Friends. That was good as well. Oh, another one, Green Lights, Matthew McConaughey. Green light, red light, green light. One of the stories that I loved, again, all of his beginning. Where do people begin, especially people who don't have any connection to the industry at all? And he talks about not looking at his script before he started on a day of filming to find out that he had a 2-page monologue in Spanish, which he didn't speak. So I found that story very much a cautionary tale. You know, it's Matthew McConaughey, all right, so you gotta be ready for that, but I really enjoyed it. I love these actor memoirs. This is gonna take forever for you to go through all of these. But anyway, almost anything by Mindy Kaling. It's funny, it's informative, she's just a delight, and has hired a lot of our fantastic students. Life in Parts by Bryan Cranston, that's great. Did you know that he married people on Catalina Island? His story about his first audition to be a rock climber is worth the price of the book alone. It's a wonderful read. I think any actor will enjoy that one. Barry Sonnenfeld, Call Your Mother by Barry Sonnenfeld. That's just a wonderful, wonderful, hilarious book. He did start in porn, and one of the favorite chapters that I have is about some of his early work there, but it's really a wonderful read, and I think you'll really enjoy it. It will make you laugh if you're up for that. Hello, Molly by Molly Shannon. That's wonderful for any actor, but specifically any female comedian, improviser. It's a wonderful, lovely story. I think you'll really enjoy it. And if you've read Mike Nichols' A Life and you're more interested in Richard Burton, I would suggest Playing Burton. It's narrated by Matthew Rhys, who is also Welsh. Wonderful stories, and sad and tragic ones as well, but I love that he hated doing Shakespeare in America because it was just a bunch of rich ladies dragging their husbands. Stories like that will stick with you. So, what a list. I'm sure as soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to remember all of these other wonderful books. I hope you can find something in there that's interesting to you, something that will entertain as well as enrich your craft. Go to the library and check things out. Libid, Overdrive, lots of options. Or if you have the money and you want to support your local bookstore, highly suggest you do that as well. I hope you enjoyed this long list. Let me know if there's something I left out or if there's any of these that you really loved. I'm really interested in always hearing about books and things that you loved. I hope Uche is listening. I hope that you watch the video on the screen. And I will see you next Tuesday for another video. That's so funny. Ah, dear me. Okay. Comedy, 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 drama. Comedy, comedy, drama, comedy. Drama, drama, comedy, drama. I'm going to have to look that one up as well. That's could be blooper worthy. Comedy, 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 drama. I was right the first time.